what do they call it these days? No. I haven't heard the term murga in ages. So basically, I'm going to give you 5 minutes, Hafiz Hamad, to do your pitch. Then Job is going to do his, and then everyone's going to vote on the pitch. Yes? So, who's done it better? Sorry? Star in the eyes? I don't know what you're talking about. Look, at least Ustad, Imam Qais would have you do murga, by the way, so at least I'm not asking you to do that. Alright, but look at your faces, some of you prefer that. If you were in Salat means I would have told you to do it, but in Juba it's probably not the best thing to do. So inshallah, so first up is Hafiz Hamad, member of Seek to Change. Yeah, this is a Muslim onboarding. Yeah, so on 3, 2, 1, over to you.
Do we have to?
Audience is over.
Do you have to introduce World Peace Mission as well?
Just do the 3 pathway page. Yeah.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Who doesn't love a bargain? Put your hands up if you want a bargain to take away with you tonight. Yeah? Oh, lovely. So we all love a bargain in here. Okay. I am talking to Muslims. So I've got 3 bargains for you to take away today, actually. And each one of them are very, very special. So the first one is a gift or a bargain, you could say, of how to achieve paradise, which is what everybody wants, isn't it? How to achieve paradise. And we have a very simple pathway, 4-step process. First one is aligning your purpose with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because what other than that could be your purpose when everything else began somewhere else? If you think about it, work it back, strip yourself back. Before your job, what was your purpose? Before your parents, what was your purpose? Before you were born, what was your purpose? If you take it all the way back, it was only Allah. So realigning yourself with what your purpose should have been the whole time. And then the 3 steps that come after that, refreshing that purpose. Every hour of your day, coming into the presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we have other techniques as well to refresh this presence. Secondly, keeping long periods of silence and with beautiful speech. So when you're speaking, it's beneficial to the people around you. And when you're not speaking, you're remaining in that presence of Allah and internally communicating with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the third one, having beautiful character. Meaning when you meet someone, you leave them in a better state than when you first met them. With these 3 steps, you can achieve the gardens of paradise. Hands up if you want that. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, now on to the second bargain, which is friendship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we've mentioned to you how you can achieve the kingdom. This is how to achieve the king. And many people overcomplicate this. How can I be a friend of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Very, very simply, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has lots of beautiful qualities. The more qualities of Allah that you can reflect, the closer you become to Allah. Very simple. And we will give you, through a 6-week course program, the tools that you need to implement this in your life. The tools that you need to actually become a friend of Allah. How easy, 6 weeks to become a friend of Allah. Who wants that? MashaAllah, beautiful. And the third bargain that you can take away, which arguably is the biggest one. This is like Black Friday sale, right? Continuing the prophetic legacy. So at the World Peace Movement, we are on this mission of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who had the wish and the want to spread this message to the 4 corners of the world. Alhamdulillah, through this movement, we are trying to be part of that responsibility, spreading this message of peace and Islam to the 4 corners of the world. And what we're asking of you is not for you to learn something new or for you to upskill yourselves. You already have a talent within you that you can use to contribute to this World Peace Mission. And we have many organizations, many different departments, many things, and we can actually build an organization around you. You have a skill set, we can put people around you to help you build your organization. Because this is what we do. We have built many, many organizations. Us being here today is actually the work from starting an organization in a small town called Bolton that I'm from in the UK. Imagine. And from that, we have gone around the world and spread the message to 80 plus countries. So you could start your own chapter in this town today. So if you want to be part of the prophetic legacy and start your own chapter, please raise your hands. MashaAllah.
Time, mashallah. Round of applause for Hafiz Hamad. Alright, you can stay up, please. Alright. Jabir? 3, 2, 1.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So now you have listened to the lecture or the seminar that we've delivered. We have three unique ways in which you can all benefit, in which everyone can take something away. The first is put your hands up if anyone wants everlasting peace. Give me a bit of a engagement, guys, please. Hands up for everlasting peace. Hands up for no more problems. Hands up for no arguing with the spouse. Hands up for every wish and every desire that you ever want in life. We have that on offer today. We have that on offer today. And that is the Gardens of Paradise. The Gardens of Paradise. In 4 simple steps, every single person here, every single person present can achieve the Gardens of Paradise. What are those? Now the main question is, what are those 4 steps? The first is, we need everyone to go pick a mountain and do a 40-day chill there. No, we're joking. That is definitely not what we're going to be doing. The first step is, we will be informing everyone on what the purpose of life is, centering their direction in life. And that is, like anything, is finding out what was the first being. Who was the first being? That is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The first being was Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This tells us what our direction in life is. So why can't work be our direction in life? Or why can't work be our purpose in life? Why? Because life existed without work. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was the first being. It was the first being ever. That means Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is our direction in life. So that is the first step. The second step is having beautiful character. Put your hands up if you've ever dealt with someone that when you see them, when you're in their presence, you walk out feeling calm and in peace. Only one person? Come on, guys. I'm pretty sure everyone there had you before. So imagine being that person. Imagine being someone like Haji Farm or Sam Majid as well. Imagine
Job is one.
People. Imagine being like these people. We can teach you how to do that. Third is long periods of silence or just having good speech. Having good speech. The fourth is every single hour being in the presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What does this mean? It means simply to refresh that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is with me, watching me, hearing me. So that is the first thing. So hands up again. Who wants the Gardens of Paradise? That's only 90%, guys. Come on. Hands up again. Who wants that Gardens of Paradise? Thank you very much. Second is the second thing that we have on offer is friendship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We mentioned about the kingdom. Can the kingdom be taken away? Yes. What about the king then? What about having a relationship with the king? Put your hands up if you've got a best friend. Only one person? Imagine being best friends with the person or the being that can give you everything. Not can, that has given you everything. That's giving you love when you've been rejected. That's giving you wealth when you're poor. That's giving you understanding when no one understands you. That is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now we will teach you practically, again, there's no mountain here. We will teach you practically how to be a friend of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We don't need 7 months, we don't need 2 years, we just need 6 weeks of a 2-hour session, and then we will let you go on your way to achieve this friendship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But the third, so that is the second pathway on how to achieve the friendship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The third pathway, which is like, as my colleague mentioned, in like the Black Friday sale, times 79 or times 67. That is the legacy of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That is the legacy being involved in the mission of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Again, we like hands here, so hands up if there's going to be another prophet after the Prophet ﷺ, I'm so glad everyone knows what that means time. Because there's not going to be another prophet after the Prophet ﷺ. Now, hands up if everyone wants to be involved in the mission of the Prophet ﷺ. Now, why should we be involved in the mission of the Prophet ﷺ? Is because it is such an honor. It is such an honor to be his ummati. Why? Because he is the best of creation, and so much so that even other prophets and messengers wanted to be a part of this ummah. So it's such a blessing, isn't it? It's such a blessing, but with this blessing comes a responsibility. With the blessing comes a responsibility, and that responsibility is that myself, yourselves, all of us here have to be the people that deliver this message to those that don't have this message. To deliver hope to those who are hopeless. To deliver love and guidance to those who are feeling dejected and lack of guidance. So this is our responsibility. There's no one else going to come, so we have to be a part of this mission. So what do we do now? We are the World Peace Mission. We are the World Peace Movement, sorry. Yeah, we are the World Peace Movement, and our objectives are our applications are of three. The first is we focus on the individual. We don't just have a broad aim that we want to reach organizations, which we do, or just organizations and countries and leaders, and we focus, our one objective is that we focus on the individual. Why? Why? Because every single person has their own struggles. We may see a smile on the face, but there could be discomfort in the heart.
And time.
Smile in the face.
Okay. Everyone, round of applause for Brother Jabir. Right. So now comes the big moment. Okay, so if I could ask Hafiz Ahmad and Jabir to step forward. So obviously some people have issues with clapping, no clapping. So do you know what they do in the Pakistani Parliament? They don't do that. So in the Pakistani Parliament, they go like this. Yeah. So when they want to applaud something. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mention someone's name, and if you think that person is the person that, but you have to go like this for both, by the way. I don't want dead silence for anyone. Yeah, just to be clear. Yeah, that'd be really hard. But the person you really support, you have to really bang the drum. Yes. All right. So I'm going to say someone's name first. So firstly, can I get everyone to do the drum roll? All right. Hafiz Ahmad. Alright, Brother Jabir. Hey, I would say that's a tie. Yeah? Alright, round of applause to you both. Just look at the hand. Very good. Alright, so is anyone else not feeling energized? That's amazing. Everyone's mashallah. Alright, so firstly, fantastic to them both, mashallah. It was really, really good. Alhamdulillah. The only things I would say, just so for our learning benefit, remember it's a pitch. I think they both did that really well. On the third one, remember it's all about how they can benefit and how their families can benefit. So I really like how Hamad built it around them and said about, but remember also to always anchor it into our credentials. That is what we do. We build organisations so that for people it doesn't feel daunting either. Like we're putting the whole load of stress on them, so that we build organisations, we support you. You might not even think you've got a talent, but guess what? We can build out so much. So just really from that perspective. But otherwise, mashallah, really good work. And we'll do a few more of these throughout the day. Next time I might ask who's feeling energized. I might pick them or not. So I'll just leave you guys guessing, inshallah. So what I'm going to do now, we've got much more role play to do this afternoon. Abdullah, can you just put the slides on? So what I'm going to go through now is broadly how we do orientation. Now, orientation, which pathway does orientation apply to? Pathway 3, yeah? So these are the people that have picked Pathway 3. They want to be involved in creating a chapter, so that's the audience we're speaking about. We've agreed with them, or we've got in contact with them and they've picked a date and they've come in, and this is effectively like a workshop that we're doing with them. What are we doing with them? A workshop. And now it says on the slides, what does it say? Weekly gathering, yes? Does it have to be a weekly gathering? It can be monthly, it can be, what works for them, it can be bi-weekly. So you're going to see the word weekly gathering on there, it will be suited to the individual. Now, the objective of the orientation is this. The objective is that the nature of people is that 20 people might have stepped forward, 10 people might have stepped forward, 3 people may have stepped forward. Who turns up to orientation might be even less, or might even be even more. Because what happens is, the experience has been both, that when people, because you've got one QR code, one WhatsApp group, when you start putting on there those who are involved in Pathway 3, this is what orientation is, other people will contact as well, and they'll ask, can we join, can we become involved in it as well? So that's one of the advantages of having it all in one group. And then the other piece is that then you have the orientation, people now turn up. The objective of orientation is very simple. It's to get their commitment and give them some infrastructure that they know out or after orientation, at least the basic steps of what they need to do, crystal clarity on how to establish a gathering. Yeah? That is the objective. Crystal clarity on how to establish a local gathering, a local infrastructure, and the entire 2-hour workshop is really just getting from them commitment. How do you get commitment from people? When they feel that they're involved in something, that they're part of something. So that's how this has all been arranged. So what we go through, so what I'm going to do is, actually after this, I'll share these very slides onto the group, because I need everyone, you're going to use them when you do the role play, inshallah. So let me talk through how it will work. You have the local gathering. Again, you do the intro, people are there, but what is it? What's the difference, by the way, between a workshop and a bayan or a seminar? Can someone just raise their hand, or just Furqan can perhaps get the microphone, if that's all right. The difference between a seminar and a workshop.
Beyond one way, you're kind of just giving them the information, whereas a workshop's a bit more interactive.
Okay, good. That's definitely right. Anyone else? What about the person that's delivering? What's different in their role?
It should be more practical with engaging with the participants rather than just delivering.
Yeah, more practical, and then we'll take one from the brothers, inshallah.
With the workshop, you're getting individuals who are attending to work together and overcome something, overcome a task. Whereas seminar, you're delivering teachings to them.
Okay, mashallah. So broadly, what everyone says is consistent, which is the seminar is generally one way. You can still make a seminar engaging as well, but the function of a workshop is that the person that's doing the delivery is what we call a facilitator. The nature of facilitation is that you help them get to the answer that you want. Yes, that's the point. They feel like they're the ones that are doing the work. Yeah, so that's what a facilitator is. That you're in there, you're engaging them, but they are the ones that should be doing the thinking and a number of engagement. That's the nature of a workshop. And to be fair, this teacher training weekend is more like that than it is necessarily a beyond. So what we're going to do is that you give them the vision. So what is it that we do? We equip global leaders to build sustainable, whatever blurb you want to say. But the piece that you're saying to them, Yeah. So what you're saying to them is, so you gave them the World Peace Mission, you told them how to create a chapter. They might be thinking about everything. I want to feed the world. I want to become, super prophetic path, super wise life, whatever it might be. So they've got a massive vision that you've given them. You need to now take them from that vision back down to what? Back down to? You have to speak louder, I can't hear. Now everyone's gone silent. Did someone say back down to earth? All right, so you need to you have to bring their vision like a bit more micro. So you gave them the macro. Now we need to go into detail. So how you do this is that first you just tell them a bit more about a weekly gathering is and the purpose of the gathering. It's a weekly touch point, spiritual support. You can read what it says on there. But what you're saying to everyone, who is an expert in setting up local chapters and setting up grassroots organization? Who are the experts? You guys, yes? As a matter of fact, that is what you guys are experts in. That is what Wise Life, Prophetic Path, Bolton, Zawiya, London, all of that demonstrates that that is what our organization are experts in. So you need to emphasize to them that it all starts from where? From a local gathering, a local chapter. Yeah, that is what you're going to emphasize to them. And you're going to mention that, look, and again, these are all motivational bits, that we're not here to build followers, we're here to build leaders within their communities. And that's what we do. And you can mention, yourselves, other people in your team. When you went to the US, you can imagine, there's Brother Jabir there, what he does, what his role is, that literally this is what we do. And then the function of the gathering and the function of having a core team is that everything that you do has to start somewhere. So if someone, for example, we had someone that wanted to be like a welfare worker, feed like all the poor people. Yeah, that's great. It's a great project. But how is it that you turn something into a wish or a want into a reality? Every reality needs to start with a core team, a local chapter, a local infrastructure that you build. And from that, you can conquer the world. Does that make sense? So whether you talk about Rome, whatever Persian or empire you talk about, they all started somewhere. It had to be a band of people that had structure around them. And from that, everything else emanates. And then we mentioned and you would have already got these clusters or these roles here, project manager, teacher, marketing lead, etc. So you can go into this in a bit more detail. Now, the roles really for these ones, like as I mentioned, is like president, the teacher, the marketing, the treasurer, secretary. Why am I not using words like, or why are we not using words like, oh man, this is so frustrating. Sorry. I think I'm going to have to get you guys all to do the stomach and the head exercise again. Probably I could look at the slides that way, but then Alright, so basically, why are we using these titles, like project lead and finance lead, as opposed to president or Amir? Yeah, so just give him the mic.
So in that way, they don't feel that position is concrete and entitled. And
Yeah.
there's fluidity, they can change whenever.
Very good, very good. 3 things that he mentioned. They don't feel entitled, they don't think it's permanent, and you want to mention, which I haven't actually, that it's fluid. That whatever roles you're given is fluid, because the nature is that when you give someone a chair, it's very hard to remove the chair. Yeah, it's just like when you give an imam a microphone. To take the microphone back is very hard. Isn't that right, Imam Gace? So there you go. Imagine if I gave you the microphone, it'd be non-stop. So that's the nature of why we say project lead or we say finance lead. The minute you give someone a really strong title, they're very hard to pull it back from them. Yes. So and then we give them a bit more about what role is. Now, if you think about it, it says there like the project manager, you're overseeing logistics, you're just checking in on the team. The instructor, that's all going to be about delivering content. The marketing, creating social posts. The finance lead, look, handles budgets, just managing expenses. Welfare, we just put there for a second. Secretary is the person that's arranging the meetings, etc. These are all practical tasks that we're giving them. Nothing grand, just saying the reality of what the expectation is going to be from them. And then what is a weekly gathering setup? We split into 2 parts. One is you form your core team, and that's going to be the people that are there. You define your purpose and your audience. You're going to choose your gathering, the name, your identity. You're going to assign roles to each other. You're going to create communication channels, initial plans, themes, and then how to promote your gathering online, launch weekly sessions, follow up, build relationships, develop consistency, train future leaders, expand the community. This is literally what's going to happen A to Z for a local chapter. And you mentioned that to them. Then we're going to move on to branding. Yes? So we're going to give them a whole section about how important it is now to, I should actually say at this point, and there's a reason why I'm going to say this, that I did not create the slides, so some of the imagery that's on there was not picked by me, nor did I choose to put those pictures up there. I just want to make that clear. Okay, I just want to make that clear from the beginning. So, sorry? I authorized them. No, I was just too lazy to change them. That's the difference. Yeah. So so we're going to talk about branding, and we go through this. Like, why does brand identity matter? So we say to them that it gives you purpose. It gives you it gives people connection, recognition, trust. Why am I talking about all of this? Why am I talking about branding? You tell me. Come on, guys. Identity, yes, that's true. Anyone else? Now, why have we dedicated a whole section to branding? Just say that slightly louder. It gives them ownership. Identity, ownership, very good. Anyone else? No, you got a look there. Right, he was about to give Shabir Hassan the microphone, and that was like... All right, if someone, at least someone say something, or do they want to come up and do a pitch? Yeah, absolutely. So the things that people mention, and we go through them now, is that, look, one is that it gives identity. And when you give someone an identity, this is all the things that come out of it. And the bit that Sister Saika mentioned, which is around commitment or feeling part of ownership. So look, where they're going to do their gatherings or how they're going to pitch the gathering is going to determine their audience. Yeah. So if all of the people that they're going to have are like, you know, the place that you go to is all professionals, or I think in the US, Jabir was mentioning to me, in one place they went, I think they were like professors or engineers, weren't they? Like very academic type people. You're not gonna then. So when they know what their brand and their identity is, it's going to determine everything else. What type of venue they're going to pick, how their brand's going to be. Like, you're not going to pick a rec center or Britannia Hotel for people like that. What are the jokes I cut? So, oh, that's right. It went straight over her head, so it's fine. Kind of thing. All right, so the audience is going to determine everything else, the type of venue. So it doesn't necessarily mean, and remember, we don't encourage people to go to what type of venues? Mosques, yeah? Masjids are not something that we will advocate for people to have their local gathering in, yeah? And we all know the reasons why. Atmosphere, themes, you can just mention all of these things to them. Then we're going to give them some case studies about branding, yeah? And what it does and the ability to do, you know, how it helps event promotion. But also, look, the real buy-in from what we're doing, the whole thing that we've spoken about right now, is to get them a level of ownership and what they can do, like what they can create. So we have these case studies. So one case study is, which case study is this we're showing them? Sacred Compass, yeah? So, oh look, there's Ustad Rahim. Are we able to zoom in? So, Abdullah, I was only joking. Allah bless him, mashallah. All right, so we mentioned that this is a local chapter set up in London, and it started off just like you guys are here in this room. Few people, they were given the infrastructure, given the support, and now they've created a huge gathering. They've pulled together different teachers, trainers, these individuals that you can see with their faces on the pictures. They're all just like all of you sitting here, and now they're all trainers in their own right. Yes, and they do different types of things. You got here Omar Da Costa. He's a very famous speaker on terms of prophetic entrepreneurship, etc. He's one of their key speakers now. Like that. That's what they do. That's what they're attracting. This is their social media, and then again you can mention how many followers they've got. Has got etc. etc. You can, but the purpose is that, look, this local chapter now, it has its own social media, has its own channel. They're a fully functioning organization now in their own right, yeah. And then you can build out on this, like, you know, that they've done They arrange a seminar with like the likes of Muhammad Hijab and things like that. Don't say stuff like that in front of a sister-based audience. Yeah, like know your audience. You know, we had the Paradigm event, a sisters-only one, and I mentioned Muhammad Hijab and Andrew Tate. Oh my word, the worst thing I ever did. Like, I think some of them were going to walk out. One of them was an MP, and she literally was just like, she didn't let me finish what I was going to say, which was the whole point, was like, look, we take these people and mashallah, like, look how much they change, kind of thing. Just getting out the words Muhammad Hijab, and before then, like, you know, just heard like almost like an eruption in one of the tables. So know your audience. For brothers, they'd be like, oh, mashallah, it's fantastic. Sisters, not so much. You know? So again, you build that out. Like this organization now is doing things in its own right. Yeah. Then we give another case study, which is the sorry, let me just move back because I knew he was going to say that. Yeah. So that, which one is this? Living with Purpose. Yeah. Yeah. Real Majid. So perhaps I lost some weight since then. Yeah. So this is Living with Purpose. Another chapter was created. Now, what we use in this case study, if I can keep a straight face, yes, is that this started as a local chapter, but now this is the power of a local chapter. So out of this, we had people that came together, we established our local chapter, and then from the people like yourself, someone wanted to create a Muslimah club. So one of the sisters from my chapter who used to attend, she's like, look, I'm interested in this. So they've created a Muslimah club now. That happens every month. It runs. It's fully fledging on its own. It self-funds. It's a Tariq organization. That's what is happening. It's one of our own. It's one of your sisters down south that are doing that. Then there's other events that come out of that. I might take off the Milad al-Nabi one because it depends on the audience. So I want to keep it as universal as possible. But what are we demonstrating? That look, the power of the local chapter. That once it's established, so much stuff offshoots from that, but you have to have the local chapter first. That is what gives you the ability to do all of this other work. Hamza, any questions? You sure? Making sense to you? Bought in? Ready to create Hamza 2.0? Yes? MashaAllah. And then we can skip this. Okay. Anyway. So then we talk about, look, how do we go from online content to community? And then you can see, like, you speak a bit about what we do, Instagram, reminders, WhatsApp, all of these things that we can help them support them in creating all of this. I'm going to jump through this for a second. Now we get to the actual workshop bit, which is now we're going to start getting them to do the work, yes? So we give them like at least 5 questions, and these can be tweaked, and we will tweak them as we refine the process more, is that in their groups, we ask them, now just 2 things here. If there were a whole load of people together, like let's say there was more than the 5 roles, what do we do with those people? What did we do? We created clusters, yeah? Project lead clusters. So what you could do in the orientation is get all of those people to sit together, so the project leads and so forth. Now, this saves you so much, and I'll talk about it. It comes up later in the slides, but I mention it to you now. You have to pick an Amir, don't you? Get them to do it. So from the project cluster lead, we say you pick someone that's going to be your lead, the finance lead. It takes the sting out of it. You're not the one that's just like arbitrarily having to decide. You know, we were in South Africa. Now, obviously, South Africa has a history about apartheid and everything else. And Talha and Habiba were cool. We were in there, and one of these, mashallah, they were just like brothers, sisters come on a spectrum, yes? But I'm not saying it as like that kind of spectrum. I'm saying it in a nice way. You know, you get slightly more passive. You get kind of some that are slightly in the middle, and then you get some that are slightly on the slightly on one end of the spectrum. Yes. Why is everyone? All the brothers are nodding when I'm saying this one. Yes. So oh, Marwan, come on. Okay. So the different types of like behavioral traits. Yeah. Some might be slightly more passive. Some might not be. Some might be slightly more alpha. Yes. Okay. Or beta, or whatever you want to say. There's a reason why I'm going to say this. Yes. So when we were picking the lead, there was one sister. They call her Auntie Janie. Yes. And considering she's part of our organisation, Auntie Jenny, you might be looking at this link, so I should be conscious of how I say it. So when we mentioned like who the lead was, and obviously one very mashallah assertive sister was like, yeah, I'll be the project lead. I think self-anointed herself to be the Amir, president, treasurer, kind of thing. But mashallah, she had a very strong skill set. And then this sister mentioned this, she goes, you know what, I've lived through apartheid, because they have. They go, we spent our lives fighting for democracy, and I just can't accept a concept where people are appointed. There has to be consensus. There has to be kind of thing. So she's really passionately saying all of this, like this is lifelong. So, and now look, all the answers for Haz are in the what? In the prophetic manhaj. And when I say prophetic manhaj, we have the living embodiment of that in Hazrat Sahib, yeah? So it's very so if you think about it, we just mentioned to that sister, she goes, yeah, absolutely right. But that happens at the right time, because just like at the beginning of any organization, someone is appointed. Just like Allah appointed the Prophet ﷺ, and the Prophet ﷺ appointed individuals at the beginning, who he sent as amirs to say Medina, to Abyssinia, places like that. They're all done by appointment. Yeah, has the organization, has the deen developed? Then you did have different methods of decision making. You had democracy, you have consultation. So Sayyidina Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, he may have appointed someone. Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anhu took counsel amongst a few people. Others open. We all have that on the spectrum, but it happens at the right time for an organization. If you do everything by consensus at the beginning, it doesn't work. You don't get off the starting field. So you have a level of appointment. So that's like some of the questions you might get from people. But your biggest credential to make sure you always get the buy-in from everyone, that you're the authority in this, is that you always anchor it to what? That you know how to establish gatherings. That is your expertise, yeah? And you've got the backing of it. And then people will take you as the authority. They'll understand, they'll accept whatever you say, that this is, like, you're basically saying trust the process, which is trust you. And you've got the proof, it's in the pudding. So what you'll do then is you break people into groups and you ask them to ask these 5 questions, which is, what transformation are they trying to achieve? Who are you serving? What atmosphere do you want people to experience? How should people recognize you? And then we get all of them to come up with a name for their, pick 3 names for their organization, if that's the route we're going to take. Yeah, and I'll explain that to you later. We're quite relaxed about what names people take. Everything will be under the umbrella of what? The World Peace Movement. Now, for example, when they went to Botswana, and the country that starts with N, yeah, the brothers picked their own names, didn't they, Abdul Rahman? For some of the sisters chapters, they went under light seekers. Okay, if you're going to give them a name, then don't give them the option. It's truth. That's very clear. So obviously, just be mindful of how that strategy is, how you're playing it out. The reason that we give them the option to come up with 3 names is why? Ownership. If you feel that you name something, then you feel like you own it. You're much more committed to that thing. Now, at some point, the entire organization, by the way, we might pivot everything across the globe and we might be called something else. That's tomorrow's problem. Today, we're more concerned with getting back the chapter established that we're running. Abdul Rahman.
Just to ask a question from last week. The Botswana Buddhist team, they were so bought into the World Peace Mission that they were saying, we want to be called Wise Life and do exactly what they're doing here, or we want to be called Seek to Change, or we want the World Peace Mission because there's recognition and they're bought into the vision. So in that situation, what should you do? And also regarding where you appoint a lead, just as a case study and information for myself and others, there was an individual who was saying that he wants to be the lead and he deserves to be the lead, he has experience, and if he is not the lead, then he's happy to just leave and he doesn't want to do anything else other than lead. And this was actually creating a friction between the people where they say, look, we're happy to appoint you, but if you threaten us now that, look, if I'm not the lead, I'm not going to do it, then we're not happy to work with you. So obviously I have to step in and then appoint another brother to be the PM. So when does a person come in, and was that the right thing to do, and what should the person do?
Did he leave?
We kept that open to look. If you want to stay, you can stay. He stayed till the end.
Yeah.
But he was open to him. He can be a PM. He can be a different position. But we had to appoint somebody else. We selected somebody else who.
Then you go by what they selected.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? If someone's going to be like that, you know they're going to be problematic later on as well. Yeah. What you want to do is just cause as less friction in the room as possible. That's our job. Our job isn't to get into confrontation with anyone. Our job is to be reassuring to everyone. And that was absolutely the right decision there, Abdul Rahman. But look what you did. You got them, they picked someone else. Yeah. So you're always going to come across as a neutral party. And that's fine. And like you say, he can support the lead. He can be the backup lead if he wants. But if that's what the majority have wanted, then just go with that. But when there's certain behaviours that you'll see immediately. Yeah. But our job isn't to just call it out immediately or get confrontational. It's just, that's nature facilitation. Get them to come up with the right decisions. Now, just to be clear, by the way, of all these 5 questions, do I really care about any of them? Yes or no? Raise your hands if I really care about any of them. Raise your hands if we don't really care about any of them. So can I ask the people that haven't raised their hands, what does that mean? Okay, the majority that didn't raise their hands, what is your answer? Can you just pick someone, please? I'm going to answer, yeah.
We do care, I mean, like what transformation we're trying to create. These things we do care. There's other things maybe they can have some flexibility, but I wouldn't say we don't care about anything.
Okay, good. Okay, I like the way that he answered that, mashallah. So, in essence, I don't really care. And what I mean by that is the nature of facilitation and workshop is that we have our objective at the end, which is I know, or you know what you want out of this, which is you want the 5 roles to be done. You have key takeaways from this will be that they go away, find a venue, have their first meeting without you, and have a date for their gathering. What are those 3 things? They're going to go away from here, find a venue. What was the second thing? First meeting all of them without you present. And 3, have a date for their majlis. Yeah? That's our objective. All of this is showcasing or getting us to what our objective is. So the nature of a workshop or what a facilitator is that I know what I want at the end. You know what you want. This is all like a show to get to the right answer. So that's why we don't care as much. Dear Mangesh, do you want to pass him the mic?
One of the things that we had was that the people who actually established themselves, they weren't looking for an independent venue, they wanted to do in the masjid.
Yeah.
And they were adamant on that. So what should we do about that then?
Yeah, so I mean, that was interesting because I think Jabir mentioned that to me. If that's what they look, you can explain to them the limitations you'll have with the masjid. If they're going to be still adamant on that, the way I would play it with something like that is okay, that's fine. Find a venue at the masjid where you can do an event, but also find an independent venue as well. So let them do what they want, but also still get to do what you want, which is still find an independent venue. And what you will find is that the mosque will drop them at some point. Much like the amazing thing about committees are what? The committees are so well established in letting people down. Yes, that's the one thing you know about every mosque committee. You know that they will always manage to work themselves out of a good situation. So in that case, just get them to also do a venue, because we had that. So one of our groups, they wanted to do an event at the masjid. So we said that's fine to do an event at a masjid, but their venue that should be independent, like where their local gatherings, everything are. That you can just say that's a good way to call people to their local gathering. So that way they still get to utilize their energy, but this is where the focus is. Now, of all these 5 questions, you're absolutely right. So they say, what transformation are we trying to create? Some of them might say, look, we want to make someone an awliya. Someone we might say that, we want, whatever it is, you are the one that ultimately knows what the answer is that you want from them. Likewise, who are we serving? That is important because it will help them determine what their brand is, but it's their answer. It doesn't concern us as much. Obviously, if they're saying that the people that we're serving, it doesn't relate or isn't practical, then you mention it. If it's a brothers chapter and they say, oh yeah, our role is to serve just women, you might want to facilitate that into a slightly different answer. We had one brother in South Africa, subhanAllah, this is amazing, in Pretoria. His name was Sheikh Dawood. He's an African brother, and he had converted 3,000 people who had become Muslim at his hand. 3,000. So we obviously sat with him. He's worth the time and investment. He listened to Hazrat Sahib and he just fell in love with them, like completely. He went over. He goes, "I want to hand over everything I have and be part of, like, this is it, like, you know, the World Peace Movement. This that literally came and said, I want to hand everything over and to the Sheikh, like, you know, this is what everything's about." We're like, that's mashallah, it's incredible, but let's stick with what you're doing and let's build some infrastructure around you. And he goes, 3,000 people, and he goes, then he goes, he exclusively does dawah to sisters only. Yes, okay. And I was like, oh, okay. Now, that I didn't know. He goes, I exclusively just do dawah to sisters. Now, look, I can't argue with the numbers, though, can I? The numbers speak for themselves. Yeah. He also has 3 wives. Yes. Now, so I was like, okay, mashallah. Now, if you see this individual, like, he is like a traditional African brother. Mashallah, he's quite heavy set, and he no. he's like I'm sorry, I'm just so conscious I'm live as well. Yeah. He's so what do you say? 3,000 he became Muslims. Yeah, 3,000 sisters. Yeah. And so he's like, if you saw him, yeah, like out on the street, it wouldn't be someone you would necessarily give a second glance to, you know? Don't say it. Okay, all right. Okay, so there's a piece around where I'm going to get to. Yes. So so if you saw him, you would think like, this is mashallah a really simple brother. You know, the stuff that I'm talking, objectively speaking, you would not think that 3,000 people have become Muslim at this person's hand. He's so passionate about the dawah, he gave up his job. Yeah. So he's scrimping just to eat, but everything is given up. And Hazrat Sahib said something so profound, and it knocked us for 6. So we obviously had the initial meeting with him. We said, look, so when someone like that, how do we do the infrastructure? We said to him, do you have like someone that deals with your finances? So we helped him establish infrastructure, like pick someone in your organization that can help you with this. So it will help him scale properly as well, and we can help him export. And you know, Hazrat Sahib then said, so we went out for a meal that evening, and Hazrat Sahib goes, oh yes, so I met Dawood, yes, and they smiled, you know, when Hazrat Sahib smiled, and you know something's coming, yeah. But they said that 3,000 people at his hand, and they go, look, and they said, Allah can take work from anyone. Like, it just demonstrates to you that Allah does not need anyone, or they can pick anyone to facilitate this message. So they go, you guys should be so honored that you are being involved in the message, because like, he is a proof. And when you meet this brother, and you will meet him inshallah, he's part of us now, and when we have our global Ijtima and everything else, you'll see these people. Like, you guys won't be laughing, by the way, when you're on the other side of the but you will literally mean, like, when Hazrat Sahib says that Allah just can pick anyone to facilitate the message. You know, I might think I'm something special, and then you see people like that tangibly have brought people, reconciled people to Islam and to Allah. It's actually humbling, you know. So inshallah, yeah. So who are we serving? That's where all this came from. Yeah. So generally, you know, most people will come to the right answer. But if you get people that don't now start giving the Dawood example, brothers, if you meet a group of brothers and say we want to exclusively just serve sisters, I will still steer them away from that. Don't start telling them the story that I just told you. What atmosphere do you want people to experience? They'll say whatever they say. Now, on what the project should be called, get them then, like, all of them will have names. So get them to reduce the names. Vote on them, vote on them, vote on them, until they get to just the top 3 names. And then what we say is, we get them to give us the 3 names, and then we will come back and give them the name. Yeah, and I think I mentioned this other training. Why do we do that? authority, exactly. That they still have to go to someone and that they have to get stuff approved from. Yeah, that's it. That they were, from their perspective, they won't even blink an eye as to why we're doing it. They'll just go with the flow. But that's what it does psychologically. They know that actually we answer to someone else, and that's how. And they still feel full ownership of what they've created. It's their name, it's their gathering, and everything else. And then one thing that we also mentioned to them is what? Their personal journey. So remember, the pathway 3 people, pathway 1, pathway 2, they've left, haven't they? When you did the onboarding, they're going to get the 3 Amars coming to them. Everyone technically gets them on the group. But you want to emphasize to this team that they still have what? A personal journey. And the first priority has always been yourself. So you need to call yourself to the path. And then again, you just go through what with them? The 3 Amars, very simply, and and you anchor it. Why? Because before you, you mention to them why, because they have their own journey. You get them enrolled in the 3 Amars. You tell them that all of them should be going on the 6-week course. Yeah, this is all factored in orientation. So you don't need to worry about when you do the onboarding about them like buying into all of that. You're going to mention it to them all of the orientation, 3 Amars and a 6-week course they've bought into. Can you just give Siraj the mic, please?
Just got a question regarding this. So, one of the areas that we're looking to build a chapter, one of the brothers is very, very passionate. He's got his own shaykh, his own tariqah, but in that area there's nothing going on, and he's seen our work, and he's saying that the community requires this, and he wants to help. So he's practically helping us finding venues, marketing, but how would we... We're going to come to some sort of crossroad that we can't say to him at 3 Amars because he's already on his personal journey, but he's not found anyone who can provide what we're providing. So he himself's in a bit of a crossroad. But then, how do we keep utilising this, working with, especially in these type of meetings? Because he's on board for the dawah, he's fully with us, the message, everything, he agrees with it. But he just said, look, I've got my person, but I want to assist as well. So in this scenario, how would we sort of apply it?
It's a good question. So look, there's 2 things. You absolutely do what you're doing with him, which is utilise his skills. He's facilitating venues for you and everything else, and utilise him to get the chapter set up. What I mean by that is that, let's say he finds a venue, let's say you do a gathering and you do onboarding. From the onboarding, you'll find 5 people, and that 5 people will be your organisation now, Siraj. Does that make sense? He can still be part of that organisation. He can still be part of that facilitation. That's fine, and you've utilised him effectively. Yeah. What we're not trying to do is say to him, drop your shaykh or anything like that. Absolutely not. You know, if he doesn't want to do the 3 Amars, look, the 3 Amars, like I remember once giving dawah to a Salafi. Like no one can argue with. Who agrees that swearing is halal? Who agrees that when you leave someone you should beat them up and make them feel worse about themselves? No one does. Everyone. So generally, you're saying it's just a structured way to do that. If he gets it from his shaykh, then bismillah. Like absolutely, that's fine. But you definitely utilize people for facilitation. Yeah? So I'm going to mention now something else, which Siraj's question has prompted, and this is more just about our dawah in general, right? In your mind, always be clear who you're speaking to, and as the dawah is increasing, more and more of us are now getting into what we call the networking space. Does that make sense? Which is onboarding is very particular for what we're doing. Then we meet people that are either going to be facilitators, and facilitators are they're not really going to get involved in the chapter, but they open doors for us. So, for example, I think London, Saika, Ustad Rahim, Sheikh Salman, you guys are doing like a mega conference. Yeah, the mega conference is about what? It's networking. Ultimately, it's going to get our name out there, everything else. So there's those type of gatherings. Now, when you meet people or you come to certain organizations, they love our teaching. So you meet people that want our teachings and they'll say to us, our community will really benefit from this. Our job isn't necessarily to go off and start giving them a teacher and start teaching all their students. Is that a good use of our time? Not really, Like think about it now. Like as an organization, we're putting our focus on where we give the most impact. It's all about impact now. Right? So maybe before there was a time if someone gave us access to 1,000 of their people at their dars and stuff, that we would say, okay, we've got a teacher and we can give them. That's not focus for us because that the impact is limited. So what we do in those scenarios is that we say, look, you give us your teachers and we'll train them. So that we can dedicate resource to, that will train your teachers, and then your teachers can train the kids. So there's those type of things as well, Siraj. So you'll come, especially in national, you'll come across that, because you come across it with masjids in certain places. That's fine. Nothing is stopping the imam coming to our classes. If they give us the best of their 5 teachers, we'll design an online course around them. We'll give them the 6-week program. There's so much that we're doing that we can funnel them into, but don't do their job for them. Everyone loves to call us and say, you guys have got great material, come and teach. That's a really, really lazy response on their part. We can get them to, because that way they'll also come to the path when we give them some training. So this bit of the orientation, now going back to the slides, is all about just emphasizing to them why they need to be on the path. Renew your intention, especially before a gathering, what they should be doing, etc. And then we tell them about what the flow of a weekly gathering is, and the flow. And by the way, it's on purpose that we're being this granular. You need to tell them that. When people come, it's all about the arrival, the welcoming, opening, hosting, and you talk about all of this. This is going to be the format. People will come, you'll welcome them, you'll do an opening, you'll host them. The main reminder will be for 20 to 30 minutes maximum. You'll do a reflection exercise of what's been taught, and then they'll do a muraqabah or a zikr. Now, interestingly, when I just went for the Denmark training, and I'll show you shortly in the Knowledge Hub, we probably will do, I'm not going to call it muraqabah, I'll call it a dua with ihsan. So just on our terminology, we're just making it as universal as possible, because some people might be, and even, Habib, remind me again, in the Pretoria, did they go for the zikr in the end or not? No. So when we had the South Africa event, actually Hazrat Sahib said to us, are they actually comfortable with the zikr? So muraqabah, not muraqabah, dua with ihsan is much more universal. So we'll probably pitch that as the quote-unquote zikr session, unless it's not just about whether your team, the chapter might be very comfortable with zikr, those 5 people that you meet, or the 6 people, but the audience might not. So remember, you're also thinking about them. So therefore, you might just make it dua with ihsan, and you can teach them how to do that. That will be for kind of 10-15 minutes, and then you tell them that it's a closing, and this is where all the networking happens. Yeah. And then you can also teach them the basics of onboarding, which is that next time that they continue to invite their friends and their family as well. And I'll speak a bit more about that in a moment. Then we have 2 seconds. Furqan, are you okay to? Oh, sorry, Baitabra's gone.
So now you set up a local chapter. So what do they give their audience? Do they give them the 3 miles? Or was that?
Yeah, they do. Yeah. So that when I speak about the onboarding, they will also give them the 3 miles. They're also given the reminders that we give on the weekly majlis. Yes. Yeah. Jabir?
Now that we have people coming to the organisation on the land and being leaders in their community, is there any type of vetting process? It nothing that's too strenuous, but because we don't know people's background and we don't know what they've come with, is there any kind of quick and easy vetting process like we have in industry that they have the DBS check, isn't it, or maybe something like that?
Yeah, I mean, we have 2 options. One is that we can do an SPS with Ustad Abdul Rahim. Yeah, so you submit the name to them, and he does a spiritual DBS on them. I'm being genuine, by the way. So, yeah, there's a piece around that actually. People want to, they can. I would think about it actually. People that come through, just make sure we run them past. Ustad Abdul Rahim. He can scan through the names, ward off any darkness and things like that. We have people that have that ability and so forth. Jokes aside, these things are quite important. But going back to Jabir's point, do we have some sort of vetting process? No, in that sense. Is there a filtering system? Yes. The filtering system is when you do from seminar to onboarding to pathways to orientation. Naturally, you learn more about people just through those processes. The team dynamics come out, so you just need to be alive to that. And also, I'll speak a bit later about the aftercare that will happen for the chapters. Things will come out about people, and then we have to make decisions on the ground. Yeah. It'd be worth actually, maybe Jabir, you can have a bit of a think about it with Ustad Abdul Rahim, about actually thinking about, as the new chapters come on board, like maybe the names or the people they go through at least a spiritual filtration. Does that make sense? Yeah. That's not necessarily saying that. Just be clear. I'm not saying that because everyone will have darkness. Just be clear. Yes. The best of us struggle with things, but it's at least that you can speak to somebody about at least putting like a force field around them, warding off certain things and everything like that. And then obviously they're coming on and doing the amals as part of the vetting as well. That's their personal journey is important. Someone else has raised their hand. Marwan.
It's just building on Brother Jabba's point. We might address this later, so I wasn't going to initially ask this now. So people are coming in and they bring their baggage and they might feel that they have expertise in any of these areas, finance, marketing, etc. And we're very clear that we make feel. So I can see within what's being presented, there is like a resort back to a central authority for key decisions. But maintaining that over the long term, so for example, has there been some consideration given to ongoing development and the mindset of, say for example, I have an interest in marketing, where you make people understand that it's about using our experience, but then also sharing best practice. So for example, once a month, if you are involved in marketing, there is a global touch point where best practice is shared and our experience is given, and you have to have the mindset of whatever, if you put yourself forward for this because you have an interest, maybe have some relevant skills, but where to take this to the highest level, you can't assume that you know and then because my concern is that people have the mindset that they then are the deciding person on that area as opposed to a facilitator that's always open to suggestions and best practice, etc.
Yeah, that's a really good point. So let me answer that in two parts. One part is that the aftercare piece is being established. So that's going to be ongoing. Does that make sense? And we'll talk about it in a bit more detail later, but let me just mention at high level. There's going to be there's three elements. There's the immediate element is that we need someone or we need a team that's maintaining and making sure there's people are touching point with the chapters, independent of the people that are traveling. Does that make sense? So once you've traveled, you create a chapter, we need someone in the background that's making sure there's maintenance happening. So that's already being done. The second bit is the teachers that have come forward and they said they want to be teachers. There needs to be a pathway for them to be upskilled because at some point they're going to have to start delivering the beyonds and everything. So we have a parallel process. One is they should go on a 6-week program, so their own personal journey. After that, the teacher training modules, well, what's happened is Haroon's now redone those as self-learning, so we can get people to go on that, and we're going to look at a system in how do we monitor that someone's actually done it and they've passed it. So for example, a quiz or so forth. So that's happening in the background. The bits that we still have to establish is giving a more of an infrastructure around things like, say, marketing and things like that, and how we support that. At the moment, it's going to be done by whoever is. Basically, every chapter is going to have, we're going to have regional leads, like someone's going to be looking after, say, Africa, someone might look after Asia, someone might look after Europe. They are going to be the main, first interface with someone who support for marketing. It's going to go to them first rather than a fully structured thing. But that's something that we need to develop out. Yeah. I'm going to go through in detail the Knowledge Hub. I'll get Furqan at some point to do it. But problem is because of the stomach and the hat situation I have, is that it's going to become a nightmare if I get Abdullah to go onto the webpage now. So I'm going to finish this and then we'll do that separately. Oh yes, do you drop the shot?
Just one thought we had. It's having experience in the past as well. It's not also in the UK on the Western world. What are less developed nations, where because you're from UK, they're expecting you to be the financier as well, in terms of the chapters when we established and gatherings, and maybe Allah knows better, could be the motivator why they actually joining in the first place, and so one could come into difficulties as well.
Yeah, so that they might come into difficulty or we might come into difficulty.
Meaning that they're always saying that we can't run until someone supports us. We're not wealthy enough to run our own selves.
Good. That's a very good question. So we've established our chapters in Africa, so obviously wealth is an issue there, and it was something that came up with Brother Dawood and others. So look, if you think about all what I've spoken about, the onboarding, the orientation, at no point have I offered what? Money. And we don't, by the way. We're facilitators. So even when we make a finance lead, we say it's for them to come up with the idea, how they will fund it. And I'm going to talk about it in one of the other slides. Now, some people might say, oh, but we have financial issues, and tomorrow we can think about it. At the moment, the push is on them to start funding things. Does that make sense? So if they say that, you know, our audience is like, you know, professionals, but then they say to us that, oh, but so we want to hire like the Hilton, well, you're going to have to, yeah, it's going to have to match. Does it make sense? And one of the ideas we give them about financing is, look, as long as, look, what you should not do is start with that as your front foot. Like say to them, oh, we have a charity arm that we're going to fund all of this. It's not sustainable. And also we have no oversight what people are actually going to do with that. So what you say to them is that most people, when they look for the venue, some people will have contacts and they will find venues for free. Others is that I think one of the chapters already even access grants and stuff. The other third piece is also that they can do like a round of money, you know, collection amongst themselves as well, to start kicking it off the ground. And then there are certain things that we can look at possibly funding if the chapter's well established. You know, like the Sisters in South Africa, like there's something we would definitely invest in. Like, you know, they pulled in 150 people, but they haven't said anything at the moment about financing. So that's the way to frame it. Remember, if it is an issue, at no point have I said, I'm not saying no to anyone. I'm just redirecting them to what they could do. Like, we shouldn't ever say no. I'm being clear about that. My brother Dawood, he actually asked for financing. The guy has no money, yeah? And so for him, like, he wanted to do like Eid presents or something like that for his 3,000 women, yeah? And so I gave him the details of the Bard Welfare Trust application. So the amount of times, by the way, I send people to their sponsor. Like, remember, it's not my headache. It's not your headache. If someone's worth the investment, signpost them where you can, and where we can facilitate, because they have their own criteria, what they can sponsor, what they can't sponsor. We're there to facilitate as much as we can. Separately to that, Hazrat Saab did invest in him setting up a business though, to finance, just from their own personal expenses. So when they met with him and everything else, he did have a business idea, and it cost X amount, and they sponsored that. So yeah, that's the reality of what they did. Ji Abdurrahman. Psycho, just to check, lunch is at 1, yes? Yeah. Is it not working? Okay, that's fine. You've got it. Can I just say, look, just as a case in point, look how important it is. Just look how important it is. You know, when we talk about onboarding, about keeping the flow and momentum, like, just look at this. Like, we just had a media issue for like 2 minutes, and we just lose the room, like, so quickly. Like, that's how you lose people. And then to try to get those people back, unless you've got a really loud voice that you can like project or something, or you have techniques, you know, like 3, 2, like, it's hard to pull people back. It genuinely is. So the onboarding orientation, really, the push is, orientation is different. It's a workshop. But the onboarding, you really need to maintain that you don't lose the room. That was in no way a criticism for Khan of the microphone thing at all. I'm just saying as an example. The other one?
So we had a similar situation, but what helped is they actually helped the cell where we're saying that, look, all of this is happening by people that are volunteering. And this is something that, you know, you don't really need funding. You can actually come forward and do it yourself. You know, you empower them in that position. Because one of them was saying that we're going to get funding and everything else. We were saying, look, this is happening. Voluntarily, people are coming forward. That they bought so much into the vision, they're willing to spend £1,000 and go across the road and deliver it.
Yeah, mashallah, very good. Very good. Sorry, I have a story to tell. I'm just wondering whether this is the right time to tell it or not. I will tell it. It's just like basically we did an onboarding session in for the Paradigm audience. It's so funny. Oh man, it'd be even funny if the guy was here. So so we did a workshop with the So for those of you who know the Paradigm, it's just focusing exclusively, let's say, on the influential, like the likes like influence like Muhammad Hijab, like kind of MPs, things like that. So they're core cohort that we focus on, do retreats with. So we had a workshop with them now to get them involved in the mission. Yeah. So this is getting them involved in the mission. Like, you know, we want their skills, we want what they have to offer, which can also include. Thank you. Yes. It can also include. Trust the how finance person to say that. Yes. Sharing it would be great as well. Thank you. So what I was going to say is so that is one of the things we want. Yeah. So we were there, and so we were doing the thing, and Allah bless him, Imam Muhammad was like, "Oh, can I come? You know, to spectate as well and everything. So I want to get more involved." So of course you can. So anyway, we did the pitch. Everyone's going through. And so someone from the team said, "Yeah, but one of the biggest things we're going to have is financing." Like, brilliant. This now gives us the opportunity because one of our projects is what? Financing. Yeah. So these people have money. Good. There you go. Now Imam Gases is catching on. Yeah. So they have, and so the guy's saying it. So we're ready now. We've got a slide deck on it, by the way, about the projects we want finance. And Imam Muhammad goes. I'm saying his name because I'm sure he's come from me saying this. Yeah, he goes, "Oh, can I please speak?" Yeah. So okay, that's fine. So he goes, he takes the microphone. He goes, "This mission of Allah." Yeah. We're like, okay, full on beyond. Yeah, of like, you don't need a penny when you're doing it. The Prophet ﷺ came and he didn't have. He gives an entire beyond on how we don't need money. Yeah. And I'm like, what are you doing? We want their money. Yes. So therefore, oh mate, did he get it from Ustad Haroon afterwards? Yes. Yeah. Full on beyond about the kind of thing. He sat silently for the whole thing. The one contribution he gave, yeah, was the one contribution we did not want him to give. So we had to rejig the entire workshop. Like, now, imagine what I have to do. I have to run into the slides, hide all the finance slide and think maybe I can bring this up the next day now, kind of thing. So yeah, mashallah Abdul Rahman, the right time at the right place. That's what I would say. That's what wisdom dictates. Yeah, but you're right. We don't you just prompted that story in my mind. But obviously with these guys, you can inspire them and say that you don't, because you don't want them to literally look out for a handout. Yeah. Obviously, the people that do have money, there's a different type of pitch you can give to them, and that generally doesn't start with, "We don't need any money." Yes, mashallah. Okay, so what I wanted, the knowledge hub I want to go through. So why is this? This is so one of the questions that will come up at orientation. You have to deal with head on is that the teachers, they're going to be asking questions like, "Well, we're not trained yet, so what do? We don't know how to do a beyond." So you're reassuring them that we give them everything and infrastructure. And one of the things that we have is we have selected beyonds of Hazrat Saab's. We have like effectively a whole content library that, when I say content library, for at least 7 of their gatherings, we have already pre-loaded beyonds. All that they have to do is plug and play. Yeah. So that is, we give them that link. They go on for 7 gatherings. They can just plug and play. And also, so the question for the teacher will be, what's their role? Very simple. Their role is that they are the hosts, and they can do the dua with ihsan for people. So they're already feeling like, actually, as teachers, they're already doing something. So their role is hosting. Their role is facilitating the beyond that's going to get played. Their role is they do a reflection. So the beyonds that we have uploaded, at the end of the beyond, there's a quiz that they can do with their audience as well. So it's a very plug-and-play system. Like you need to assure them that we made it that easy for them, that whole facilitation. Yes, Imran.
Part of that content hub, does it have like scripts? So you have the bayan. So say someone, a local chapter person, wants to deliver. Let's say time is, for example, We have scripts of the bayans that they can literally just read and deliver.
No, so they're not read. So they're playing the bayan. Yeah. So these are Hazrat Sahib's bayans that they are playing. Yeah. For the local majlis, just to be clear. So obviously part of the venues will be that they need the ability to be able to play something. Yeah. So it's literally is plug and play. Yeah. Okay. The expectation delivery for them won't happen until they've gone through the training. So, okay. So.
We in India, this is happening right now. Like Hasab was told us to pay their bayan and the zikr at the end as well. So alhamdulillah.
MashaAllah.
Just want to say.
Alhamdulillah. Allah increase it as well, MashaAllah. I hear the Indians are quite far. They're all doing ascension as well, MashaAllah, and everything. MashaAllah. Very good. So the next part of the orientation now is getting them now. We're going to break them into exercises, and this is really important. So we're going to, if you've got more than one person, like clusters of the project, the teachers, the marketing leads, the treasurer, the welfare lead, now you get them to go break out into their groups and come up with what they actually need to do. So what is going to be their role? Like coordinate, like you, and this is what facilitation is getting them to come up with the tasks and the roles that they have to do, you know, for an upcoming gathering, whether it's helping find the venue, whether it's making sure you're managing the team, for the instructors, how they need to practice on how to host the dua with Ihsan, which we're going to teach them, and make sure they practice, get familiar with the knowledge hub, you know, so they go on, they see the bayans that are going to be played. These are and you give them the task to do. And it's really important because let's say 5 people are picked to be in the project management team, 6 people are being picked to be in the teachers team, 2 people are in the marketing team. So you are getting them to create the tasks so that no one is left with not doing anything. That's really important because it's something that I've really emphasized, that no one should be left with not having anything. There should be no silent spectators for Pathway 3. Every person in Pathway 3 should be given a task. You know, and really for the ones like Siraj and Abdul Rahman and you guys that are thinking about the Friday Majlis, really I can't stress enough that we need to give something to the volunteers that are coming forward, even if it's making up tasks. I'm telling you, if you have to make up a task, make up a task. That's the only way you're going to get people to remain engaged. Where are we? And then so that is a what? It's a group exercise. You're getting them to do that. They're going to come up. That's stuff for them. Like that's what they're going to take away. That's what they're going to do. Then what we do is we do with them. I need to change the title. Dua with Ihsan. Yes. So you do a practice run with them in the workshop, and then because that's what they're going to be doing at the end of the gathering. You know. So you do that with them, and then just a couple of takeaways, and I'll put that here as well. So by the way, just I'll show you. We've got an entire now. For people that are going out, like us guys, when we go out to a new chapter, we've got a full script of what you should be doing for onboarding orientation. We've got a full script of what you should be doing for orientation, you know, and so those are materials that are there for you to utilize when you're out doing the dawah. Now, remember, all of these materials, what are they? It starts with T. O. They're tools, yeah? They're supposed to be a crutch, not a crutch. What do I mean by that? Laiba, what do I mean by that? You can put it on the mic. I'll give her the microphone as well.
They're meant to support you, they're not meant to be the main thing.
Yeah, that's right. You know, the meaning of crutch can go 2 ways, yeah? A crutch is either supports you or it pulls you down. The purpose of all of these tools are there to support what you're doing. They don't make them the be-all and end-all. Like, just because... You know, the scripts are there to help. They're quite defined about all the things you should cover in orientation, what you should cover in onboarding, but that shouldn't dictate how you deliver. What I'm saying is that as long as you understand what you're doing and what the objective is, that when they leave orientation, everyone has a task, and when they leave orientation, that they're going to go away, find the venue, have their first meeting, and set the majlis date. If you have done that after orientation, you got that agreed, that's it. The infrastructure has been established. Are you quite comfortable that you've got that? All the other stuff that comes afterwards is just you supporting them. They'll ask questions. You know, that's all just technical stuff. That is the 3 main takeaways you want to give them. You also want to give them, like, mention to them, and we did this with all the chapters, that the first thing that Shaitan will do is he'll try to attack the unity. So you will have disagreements, like anticipate the issues that they're going to have, which is going to be disagreements with each other. And you mentioned clearly, because Shaitan is going to be focused on them. And again, that also makes people feel quite valuable when you realize that, oh, whatever I'm doing, it's big enough for Shaitan to put focus on. You know, I remember when I first joined the path, that's exactly what Hazrat Sahib said. Hazrat Sahib said that when they did the initiation zikr, they said that now, like, effectively you have a target on your back. It made me really uncomfortable, actually. But it also really bothered me that I was uncomfortable, because I was like, well, hang on a minute. Logically speaking, we all know Shaitan is our open enemy. Like, we really know he's our open enemy. So, but we don't live our lives like he is. And the amount of times I've sat with Hazrat Sahib and they've done a one-to-one with someone and they've left and Hazrat Sahib has immediately referenced who? Shaitan. Like, our focus is always on the individual, or what crisis they're going on about, or what the bad party was and the good party. And Hazrat Sahib's like focusing on, look what Shaitan has done. Like, so crystal clear focus. He is the enemy. He is causing the problems. He is the being that we need to deal with head on. Like, they are so laser focused on who the enemy is. Like, so laser focused. So they always look beyond the personalities. Whereas we're stuck having the disagreement with, oh, husband had an issue with wife had an issue, oh, who's bad, who's right, who's... Hazrat Sahib's like, no. Who is causing all of this right behind them? And that's Shaitan. And there's a story I'll tell, but that's separate. So those are the main things that generally deals with orientation. G, Brother Imran. While he's doing that, can you just get the Knowledge Hub up and running on the thing?
As part of, say when we warn local chapters about, again, sort of Shaitan disunity, is there a room or anything to prescribe as part of personal amounts, like say, like Masnun Adhkar protection?
Yes, so the 3 amals is the starting point. It really, really is. Look, it's giving them the nisbah to who? Imran, there's a question. Yeah, sorry.
So it's self-accountability.
Yeah, and also it's giving them a nisbah to who? A connection to? Yes, that's really, but let's be clear, that's vitally important, isn't it? Like, that is the source. Like, if they don't have a nisbah to Hazrat Sahib, then, you know, we can do whatever we like. I'll give you a good example. You know, who here is from Birmingham? Other than the Ghanams, yeah? Oh, we haven't got any of the Birmingham people here. So I'll quite say it quite openly. Has Birmingham got, they watch it online, so it would be good that they hear this as well. Has Birmingham got a local gathering? Yes or no? That's interesting. Sorry? Okay, Solihull. Okay, just be clear. Birmingham still has to establish a local chapter. Yeah, mashallah, Brother Ghanam have come and they've done amazing work. I'm not taking that away from them, but they've got a pre-existing infrastructure that they've incorporated and brought into the tariq. Has Birmingham itself, Brother Zafar, if you're watching, yeah, Dr. Nasser, if you're watching, you know, Sada Aisha, if you're watching, you know, I'll make it very clear. Have you guys established a local chapter? The answer is, they can spell out the answer themselves. Yeah, that's really important, by the way, because it has a direct nisbah connection to who? To Hazrat Sahib, and the Hazrat Sahib, by the way, has called it out. Where is the Birmingham gathering? Yeah, because from those gatherings, so much comes out from gatherings that are established by them, that are connected to them, and because then the source of light comes directly through them. Yeah, and so those of Birmingham that are watching, yeah, of course, that's Solihull. Solihull is flying. Look at the benefit of Solihull. Doesn't make sense. Yeah, that's why they never. They put their hands up today that they're Birmingham. They never raise their hands normally. Normally they're like, oh, we're Solihull. No, have you ever? When we do the round robins, yeah, we do introduction. To date, I have never heard a Ghanam brother say, I'm from Birmingham. Yeah, we say it. No, you're not. Stop trying to be posh. Stop trying to say so. From their lips, it's like Birmingham is like, yeah, exactly. They can't even utter it. It's just like Solihull. Yeah, but yeah, mashallah, that's why Solih is flying. You guys have a gathering, mashallah, and so those from Birmingham, Asl, yeah, if you're watching, that really, what like Nelson's, oh, that they separate themselves from, yeah. So Imam Gay still thinks he's from Nelson, by the way. He was the Imam there. You know, he has a very soft spot from for Nelson, very much so actually. Okay, so inshallah, what I'm going to ask is, so Furqan, so this is a knowledge hub that's been created. So Furqan, have you got a microphone? Do you want to talk people through what this is? And please, like, engage them, tell them how amazing it is. And so that means that you need to be, like, smiling and... He needs to pitch it.
So, alhamdulillah, this is...
You're like, just like you were giving everyone advice to put the microphone closer to there. There you go.
So, alhamdulillah, this is, it's not from myself, this is from the blessed teachings from Ustad.
Okay, yeah, we get that. Okay, mashallah. It's like, so let's get to the asl. Yeah, it's not for me. We do the whole kind of pious thing is done, dusted, checked. We believe it.
So, yeah, just the main aspect of it is to give the participants and the teachers something to go off. Like they're not on their own. We've given them a framework and a landing page that they can always go back to. So these are the 6 gatherings that have been uploaded for them. So let's just go through. Let's go through gathering 6. So they can play it directly from the website. It'll open it up. As soon as they've watched the video, they can go onto the website physically, so the participants can go on, add in their email address, phone number, full name. So this is a way of registering the participants as well. So we're getting a bit of a register going there. I'll actually go on to I don't know, because I believe there's So this is a few of the participants from the first gathering that the South Africa chapter did. Sister B was doing it just to test out that leaderboard, so he was checking. But these, so from 2 to 10 is all new participants that have tried and tested this platform. So that's basically for each gathering. They've got 6 here, and it's an ongoing process. So more gatherings will be added on. Then the second aspect then of the Knowledge Hub is seasonal special. So currently we're in the blessed month of Muharram, right? So they can go on to this specific video that Hersad's mentioning about Ashura, the blessed month of Muharram, the sacrifice that Imam Hussein did. Similarly, they can then do the quiz and go through that. And we had this was with this specific knowledge hub went up at the time of Hajj. So we had the Eid al-Adha, the meaning of Qurbani and sacrifice, and prior to Ramadan as well, this was also on there as well. And then the dua with ihsan as well. So this is what they can play for the participants to implement the dua. And then also we have the recommended channels that they can go back to, where Hasad's official channel, English channel, the Sacred Compass page, the Living with Purpose page. So that's the blueprint that they can go back to. And if they want to see what kind of instructors we have on our panel, Brother Tanim, Brother Taha, Sheikh Muhammad, Hassan Majid, and our blessed teacher, Sheikh Ahmed Abdal, they can always go back to those channels. And we've also, do you want me to go to the packet?
Yeah, you might as well show them that.
So, for internal use, this is the idea of what Talha is kind of going through.
Is this the support stuff? Yeah, we can talk about that later.
Yeah.
Is that okay? I think people can do that. So look, just go back to the Knowledge Hub for a second and just scroll up to the just pause there for a second. Look, so the function is still being built out. So we started building out immediately in Africa. So orientation was done. We immediately needed something up so people can start. But you have the whole point is, how do we get people to make the gatherings as easy as possible? Does it make sense? Like, what is the thing that Hazrat really pulled us up on is that we can't leave a place and that's it. Like nothing's happened. Like we go back to the same place again. Okay, there might have been a gem, you know, we might have been 10 gems, but how are we cultivating them? Like clearly the method that we've been using before is not working, and it's definitely not working to the standard they want it to work. So, you know, oh, they're a gem, they're going to create something. This immediately gets it done, but we have to give them infrastructure. So more and more of the people that we need to get more of the teachers on there as people are going out, becoming the ambassadors. The quiz works really well. The chapters have utilised that. That's been really good. There was the zikr was on there, and Tariqa Muhammadiyya channel was on there. Hazrat asked to remove both of those. They said put their Facebook page on there. The zikr again, we want to make this as universal as possible. So even the things that we have, we're still going to have to make the language more universal. But why am I mentioning those two things? Because when they went to the Knowledge Hub, they actually added so we had the 7 Beyonds, they actually added the seasonal bit, actually have that there, you know, when there's Muharram, things like that, so people could access that. They really pushed on making it as universal as possible. They said put their Facebook page on as opposed to Tariqa Muhammadiyya, because they go, look, their Facebook page is more universal in language, and also people might have an issue or connotation with Tariqa. Exactly. So look, why am I mentioning all of these things? So you can see how they're thinking. Does it make sense? What are they calling us up on? What are they refining? What are they pushing us to do more and more of as well? And then later on, inshallah, I'll ask someone to go through the other portal. G. Imran. If you just switch back to the slides.
So I was going to say, so if we can now start utilising this knowledge hub as part of empowering local chapters, will they update it to remove, like, say, for example, certain global tools? Africa is concluded now, right? So will they update the website?
Yeah, so basically, firstly, you need to start utilising it. The more you utilise it, the more issues are going to come out. Doesn't make sense. Look, Hazrat Sahib utilised it, and immediately they picked 3 things that they wanted changed and wanted added. So it's improved by 3,000%, just like that. So the more you guys engage with it, the more then the feedback will come through. We can amend, we can change, all of those type of things. The quiz went down really well with the participants. You know, we put it there. We didn't know how well it was going to go down. It went down really well, and it helped the teachers. You know, the ones that have chosen to be teachers, they can now use that as a tool after the Beyond to engage people. So all of these things, the more that we can add to it. Obviously, this is it's built into the Africa thing, but we're going to build it. It's going to link out of that into the World Peace Movement webpage. So, but those are like mechanical stuff. Don't worry about that. You just worry about what we have and that you've got something to give someone, and you go through this in the orientation. You have to go through it in detail. But why? If you're someone sitting on the other side and you show them that, what do they feel? Yeah, and yes, empowered, supported. It's reassuring that you're not just dumping them on something, that you've really given them the thought that they're literally, it is what I say, plug and play for them. What are they all have to do then? They just need to make sure they bring the numbers. Doesn't make sense. Hazrat also mentioned actually teach them how to create a WhatsApp channel community. These are some of the things that, and again, we can put that in the portal as well, actually, how to set these things up or build it into the orientation. All of this stuff is going to be refined. So, and that's our job. Keep building out, keep refining, but keeping consistent. That's why we're doing the training. Like, so look, just look at it from yesterday that, mashallah, you had Laiba, Zayn, who was the other person that did the? Abdul Rahman. They did their pictures. Then you saw Hamid and Jabir do that. You can already see the improvement happening. It's mad, isn't it? Like, sorry, I don't need to use a word like that. But my point being is that already you see people, there's a consistency in how the pictures are coming across already. Like, that's like with half a day's training. More of this, more you're doing, like it's just a product that we can just like roll out again and again and again and again and again. Yeah. Someone had their hand up. Tahir, yeah.
So with regards to these sessions, we have some, I think, maybe Middlesbrough requesting a certain topic. What are we doing in that case? Are we focusing on the actual sessions that we've got here in the Knowledge Hub? So for example, I think some people requested the jar topic or something like that. Or some people might have something that they, or are we actually from the outset directing them to, otherwise is it better that we support them and give them direction
So-
rather than leaving it to themselves.
Okay, so this is really. I think what you're saying. Correct me if I'm wrong. In Middlesbrough, the expectation is that one of you comes to deliver. Yes.
Yeah.
How else can they do the job?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So remember, what is the function of the chapter? Is you want them to do as much of it as possible. Yeah. So if that's what you, look, what I would say is the more direction support you can give them, the better. If let's say it's not so much the topic doesn't concern me as much, but what will concern me is this: who's setting up the venue, who's found the venue. If you're the teacher and you're just delivering, who's doing the hosting? Is it because I want it to be one of them? Then they say they should be doing the hosting, they should be doing the intro, they should be doing help, get involved in the aftercare, make it like, see, the more you can put it on the chapter, the better. Otherwise, really what you've done is you've just hired a venue, they've helped you with that, and you're doing everything else. That's no different from what we had before. The function has to be that they are the establishing the chapter. Yeah, really, if we can get them even to do some of the beyonds without us there, that's also good. Obviously, if it means it's going to collapse, then don't do that. But the support they need is going to be everything else around it. It's the infrastructure we want them to build. Yeah, because I even had one with like Denmark, for example. Mashallah, they're very hospitable people, but they end up doing everything for any chapter they're going to create. And that's not a chapter. That's exactly what they were doing before. And then they get exhausted. That's exactly what happens. And then their zawiyas have I don't want to use the word collapse, but if you think about them, they've actually gone out and created zawiyas, like physical buildings. But you don't create the infrastructure, it's not sustainable, because it's them trying to deliver 3 beyonds in 3 different places. So that's what Ustad Mansour, Ustad Naim, and one of the other ones. There's only 3 of them. How thinly spread can you be? So you're gonna the momentum's not there if the infrastructure's not there. So in answer to your question is, the topic is less relevant for me. What's more relevant is the infrastructure around it. Yeah. So who's doing the opening, who's doing the closing, how much involved we are. We want to do as much of what they do, as much of it as possible. Yes, if they're not confident delivering, absolutely send an ustad, to deliver something, to just make sure they're being as catered for as possible. G. Imran. And then just pass it on to Saika.
So what's the minimum number? Is there guidance on the minimum number of people required for an effective local chapter? And the reason I ask is because an example of Luton, where currently we deliver what is trying to be sort of like a local chapter. Currently it's mainly just the Ustad that delivers, but recently we tried pitching the parts of transformation. Someone signed up. So now we have someone to support marketing. That's 2 people, deliver marketing, but is there guidance around that?
Yeah, so if there's even one person that's willing to establish a chapter, are you talking about establishing a chapter, yes?
Yeah.
Well, it's not a yes, no kind of thing. It's a direct question that requires a direct answer. Yeah, good. So if someone is willing to set up a chapter, even if it's one person, we will put the investment in. Does that make sense? Yeah. It might be one person that can't do it in the end, and it might fail, but wherever someone wants to do a chapter, because look, if they can do the project or find a venue and we can help them with the marketing, so be it. We'll do that. We'll put it around. Yeah. Sorry, just give it to Psycho.
So myself, I don't really teach admin events. So in terms of like this applying to me, am I trying to set up chapters of events in new towns? Like I don't.
So from your perspective, Psycho, is that it's like you do what you've been doing, and because you're great at what you do, yeah. So the onus is on. So give Sister Psycho will set up SFH, for example. You set up the infrastructure. Who's then responsible for the teachings and everything else?
The one with our own people.
Exactly. So they'll have to be responsible for how they will create an onboarding scenario, how they do pathway 1, pathway 2. That becomes their problem. Yeah. So you carry on doing what you're doing. Yeah. So this element of the facilitation, look, they'll ask the same questions to you that we asked at Gulliver's. We'll ask the same questions to you that we asked at what was the one that started with S? Sage. Oh, SFH. No, it's the place. And Shropshire. Yeah. And what was the other one that started with D? Dearne Valley. So Gulliver's, Dearne Valley, Shropshire. What are the things that we say? Is there a place that we can teach? Is there all those really annoying questions that you get from the teacher department? Yeah. the ones that you say, oh, they didn't tell us quick enough or old enough, even though we ask the same question we ask at every event. But we'll put up and shut up because it's like, mashallah, and we smile and we say, whatever you want, we'll do. But we'll ask you those questions so we have the infrastructure to do the pitch. Does that make sense? So that's what the thing is from our perspective. Yeah.
So, from my perspective, at the moment we're having an element of people saying, you coach us to do events. So is that equivalent to setting up a new chapter? So when I'm having people saying, coach me on how to do an event, or you facilitate us, so this way, do we pitch our teachers there? So there's an opportunity to set up a new chapter and on board, because those opportunities do come.
When they're asking you to help them with an event?
No, so there's people coming to us saying, train us to do what you do.
Yeah.
So then
what you as in Psycho does, yeah? Oh, that's slightly different, isn't it?
Is that not equivalent to setting up a
if it's something, if they're asking you to set up a chapter, in essence, you know best, yeah? Then of course pull us in and we can help facilitate that, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. But you make the right call on these things. You know what they're actually asking you for. If they're asking you to set up a Gulliver's or book out a theme park, then you can ask the teacher department. But I don't think you're going to have anyone that's going to be able to work their way out of a paper bag. So in the nicest way possible. Yes. I just got a look from Imam Gates there. I was just like, he goes, don't put me in that bucket. But generally, look, if what they're asking in essence is a chapter, then of course we'll help facilitate that. And now you know what the infrastructure is, and you can see where you can match HUS to. If they're obviously asking for something else that's different, and if they're asking for you to train them up as effectively a project manager, then that's a separate question. You know, you might want to think about how you create a service out of that as well. Yeah, inshallah. That's a really good question. Any other questions before we break for lunch? 1:15. Okay. 1:15. Ooh, that gives me an opportunity to do something. Imam Gates is going to ask a question, just so that we don't do whatever I was going to say. Okay. Any questions on the orientation? Is it all straightforward? Is it not straightforward? Oh, sorry, go.
With regards to when you're setting up the new chapters, and obviously they will start to establish themselves, are they then onboarding as well? Which you mentioned some sort of onboarding, but we're doing the onboarding, but then how are they then, because they're existing in a certain area or a certain country, for example, are they then adding people into their existing group and just allocating roles, or are they now thinking about actually how do we expand in terms of another chapter in the same area? Is that part of it?
Good, that's a really good question. Just pass the microphone to Sister Habiba, and she can just mention, what did we do for the Pretoria one? Because Hazrat gave some guidance as well.
So for Pretoria, at the end of their gathering, they offered 2 key takeaways. So the first was the 3 Amals, which is the Garden of Paradise. The second was membership. So the membership was split into 2, which is our Pathway 2 and Pathway 3. So the first membership was to be a community member. So you commit to attending regular gatherings, you get comms for that, and you invite people to attend with you. And the third is chapter member. So if you're a chapter member, you get involved in the organisation and you're given a role.
Yeah. So in answer to the question is basically the 3 Amals is given to them, definitely as a takeaway. And remember, when we're giving anyone the 3 Amals, that they all still have a responsibility to do what? Bring people to the gathering, and then also become a member, commit to come to the gathering, and also they get involved in the chapter. That's what we give them. Now, what they did ask us, Hazrat was really clear about this, is that some people might come from out of town to their gatherings who might be able to create a chapter. For that, they shouldn't do the onboarding. They should get in touch with us, and then we will either train them how to do it, or we will go give the onboarding. That they didn't want, Hazrat said, they want something half cooked, basically. You know, so chapter, because they will have new people that will come out of their towns, and we'll say to these people, we want a chapter in our locality, in which case we just need to make sure we're onboarding or training them how to onboard. Do you have the hand?
Yes, so just for clarity, so nationally, let's say we go to Reading, we should be having them select a name of the organisation and not utilise for that part.
This is a good question, actually, and maybe I'll have a chat with National offline and have a discussion about this. Whether we, firstly, it's not today's problem. It's half a day's problem. What I mean by that is, the problem will come. The question is going to come up orientation, isn't it? Whether we get them to pick a name, like do we make another prophetic path, or do we get them to come up with a chapter name? My inclination at this point is that they can come up with the name because it gives them more ownership, and we've seen it work, but we can take guidance on it as well. Yeah, but that's my initial inclination. Question.
You mentioned about the system in place. So, for example, we've got obviously South Africa, there's something going on. USA, people have onboarded. We've got other cities going on nationally. So, what systems in place? Who takes responsibility of people that are onboarded? Orientation. What's the process for that?
Okay, good. That's a really good question. So, firstly, the onboarding responsibility sits with whoever's doing any seminar anywhere. Yeah. So that's whether that's done through national, whether that's done through international, whether that's done through, say, I don't know, Jamia are doing their things. Maybe we've got some other initiative where we're doing seminars. That's why everyone in this room has to take ownership of onboarding. Yes, those same people should also take ownership of the orientation that happens afterwards. Yes, those two things. Now. So that's why the training's there. Now, obviously, with all things, if you need support, you should reach out, ask, and we can help support. That's like the people from the US were doing that. People in Bali were doing that. They were ringing, saying, "Look, what happens in this scenario?" So that should continue. Now, what separate to that is the aftercare element. Yeah. So we have 2 aftercare teams at the moment, or it's really one team. One that deals with Pathway 2, which is the 6-week course. That's happening in the background, and you might as well actually present that now, actually, Dr. Abada. Yeah. And then Pathway 3 is the team that Abada. Yeah. I'll bring the team up at the moment. So basically, the team that set up the whole knowledge hub and everything, they're looking at managing the chapters. So that's already happening in the process. Monitoring the chapters, they will have an ask of everyone, whatever seminar you go to, they'll ask you to fill in a form. 2 things will happen after you set up a chapter. There will be the person or the ustad or the ustada that is the interface with that chapter. So, for example, Ustad Tyra is setting up chapters, Abdul Rahman went to Botswana, Habiba was in Africa. So there's that interface, yeah? Imam Qais went to the US. So you're the interface with the chapter. That is there. But there is a process where once that chapter is set up to feed it into the aftercare team who can deal with it more logistically. What I mean by that is give them the support, make sure they're added to the groups.
How long is that for?
So when you say how long is that for, that's immediate. The team's existing. Yeah.
You know the handover process.
The handover process for that is that's what we need to refine. Does that make sense? So what I would say, I think with the international so much, but with national, we'll probably have a meeting with them at some point today as well, and just say, look, maybe I'll get Abad and Habiba to come up in a second, and you can talk about what your asks are of the teams, which is let us know when the chapters are set up, and then there's 2 things. It's like Pathway 2. The infrastructure is already that's already working. So you just need to get the group set up, and the team takes over. They'll send out the Zoom links, the sign-ups, and everything else. For chapter 3, for Pathway 3, what we just need to know is when they're being onboarded, what the chapters are, and then we can start giving that. We're going to allocate people to looking after a chapter. So they send through the reminders, touch base with people. There will be a piece about, look, it all depends also in the person. So some people are really busy. They go out, they do the travels, they get the chapter set up. They're not going to be able to engage with that thereafter, yeah. And we have to accept that as an organisation. Like we're asking people to, spend a whole load of money, go to another country, go to another city, then to ask them to also maintain. It's not a sustainable model. So that's why we have the aftercare team that has dedicated people that are going to be engaged with that chapter. So you can confidently say it's now your problem, not my problem, basically. Yeah. That exists. Maybe at this point, sorry, Marwan.
Quick question. These slides have been prepared for teacher training. Do we have a version of these that we can just plug in and use when we're doing that?
The orientation ones are the ones this is what we put to the team. These ones are the ones that we go through with the participants.
Okay, for some of the things, some of the slides I thought were more for us.
Such as?
So when you were saying like the different brands, we choose like
Yeah, obviously that's what I'm saying to you. So I don't turn around and say to the participants, pick 3 names, and by the way, you're doing it because psychologically we're the authority and you're not. I hope no one's going to say that at orientation meeting. So remember, just so distinguish between what I say to you and what you say to them. Yes?
Maybe I misread that.
No, you're right. There was 3 names, name 1, name 2, name 3, but please do not say to them, this is the reason why I'm asking you to send me the name.
Is that what Kyle said, man? Because that aftercare thing was something which was really bothering me. Because if we have to take responsibility and ownership of actually having to maintain them as well, that's a really big headache. And I feel
Yeah, that's a fair point.
They said that was really big.
Yeah, okay, that's very good. In one case, that's a legitimate point, but it also means that people that are going out and setting up chapters, you need to engage with the aftercare team. Doesn't make sense. Otherwise, there's going to be a question that's going to be asked, which is, where are we? And both people can't turn around and put their hands up and say to others, like, oh, I passed it over, or I didn't. Doesn't make sense. Like, there's clear responsibility. The aftercare team are going to be responsible for managing their chapters. The interface person, that's going to be up to them. They're going to have to work with the aftercare team how much or not involved they're going to be. Because remember, at the moment, it might seem, like, I can speak for myself. I can't manage the Africa ones that I set up. Like, generally, I haven't got time to be engaged on the group. I can see some of the messages. If someone needs something from me, I am leaving it to the aftercare team to tell me exactly if they want me to post something on the group. Yeah, if they're gonna say, Majid, you've got the interface with that person or something like that, because it's not a sustainable model. Does that make sense? So that is their responsibility to do that. It's like and also, and mark my words when I say that, Hazrat Sahib said that within moments, the issue is going to become numbers. SubhanAllah, it's a good problem. It's going to be the problem. Like, that I'm desperately trying to get the system set up, desperately, hard and fast, because when they said that is going to be the problem, I'm telling you now, like, Abdul Rahman's come from Botswana, he might be thinking I'm like the bee's knees and I'm speaking with that chapter. Today's bee's knees is going to be tomorrow's issue. Like, it will be, because it won't be sustainable. You've got national chapters that are going to kick in, and there's other tours that he's going to go to, not sustainable. You need to have a system in place, you know. And even more worrying when Hazrat Sahib says our issue is going to become numbers, you know. No pressure.
So I just have a question about managing relationships in that sense. So, like, for example, you physically went on a Jamal.
Yeah.
You met certain people that you would say that are really valuable, a real assets or gems and potential leaders. So you've formulated a physical relationship because you met them.
Yes.
The aftercare team is remote. They've
Yes.
not met them. So how do you manage that handover when you don't lose that asset? Because in a way, if you went on tour and you met 15 people, you think, okay, they don't know yet that they've got potential, but if we work them right, they potentially could be the future chairmen or ambassadors of this country. How do you communicate that in that handover so it's not lost? Because historically, if we look at like our own journeys, we got a lot of time, we were nurtured to become, you know, whatever we are today.
To become the psycho that you are today.
I am today.
MashaAllah. Yeah.
But meaning whatever we are today is because we had that time, that nurturing that we got, I would say.
Who's your mentor?
My mentor, Dr.
Okay, MashaAllah.
Yeah, so I get a lot of their time, I'm not going to deny that.
So he's responsible for what you are today. MashaAllah, there you go. That's
So,
really good.
you know, but new people are not going to get that. And so what I'm saying is how retention, basically.
Okay,
because a lot of people, if we didn't get the nurturing that we did, we would have probably dropped off a long time ago.
Okay.
So how do you manage that in the transition of, because somebody might have like really met Imam Qais in America and said, no, I want him who's got personality, then you go to someone else.
And then he gets me.
and I don't click with this person. That's a lot of how initially, you know, people work. Exactly.
What's that they called him?
The cool Imam?
Yeah, he is the cool Imam. What do you think the brothers in Nelson like? They're like, love the guy, mashallah. Okay, so let me, I'm going to modify Saika's question slightly, yeah? So it comes in two ways, what Saika mentioned. One is this, look, we were having this problem, that's why Pathway 2 emerged, because we were going to places and we were coming back, and Imam Qais will remember the initial guidance we were given was, get a WhatsApp group set in and have the Ustad in that WhatsApp group, you know? the reality is that everyone has a different schedule and the engagement differs. So Pathway 2 emerged because we thought, look, we just need a system that, like, so every 6 weeks this course, so people get something that they're getting funneled to, rather than getting told at a seminar, you're going to get something and then get given nothing. So what we did was that whenever someone came back from a tour, so those who have come back from a tour will know that what happens is a handover session happens with the participants. So the first session that they have, the Ustad or Ustada that went on that tour says hi, bye, goodbye, basically. And then the aftercare team now run those 6 sessions. Yes? So that is happening. That's how the interface works on that. For Pathway 3, so this, now just to be clear, that's not the Pathway 2 piece. There is obviously the risk that there might still be people that are thinking, oh, I was more connected to someone before, but now this new team has taken over. That's just the reality of what we have to deal with. That is the reality. But at least, though, the difference is that they haven't got no one, because that was the other reality, that people were coming and nothing was being done. So that's point one. The second piece is, when I'm talking about the interface team are the ones that made the relationship. So let's say Abdul Rahman's come back from Botswana, the US. So what we need to do is that, whether that, and Habiba, you can correct me, or Badr can correct me if I'm wrong, I suspect what we're going to do is that individual is going to add, or the person wants, I think Habiba, you're already on the groups anyway, aren't you? So they just need to do a formal introduction. This person is now going to be your main contact. That's it. It's going to be as simple as that. Yeah. That doesn't mean, look, we still have individual relationships. I still would like people, the interface team, to be, but it's up to them as involved they want to be or not, because that's based on this schedule. Like, so Tyra, for example, you're setting up chapters. What might be sustainable today will not be sustainable tomorrow. Yeah. So what time you can give them today won't be the same time you can give them tomorrow. But it's up to you. If an Ustad or Ustada can maintain the contact and everything, that's fine. But then that's less involvement of the aftercare team. They're just involved, they're just overseeing, that's it. You're doing most of the interface. If you have to step out and say, okay, I can't be as involved, that's fine. Then the aftercare team can step in and carry on with that relationship, manage any issues that come up in that chapter. Yeah? Does that answer your question, Saika? Yeah? Yeah, let me just finish one point though. Now, amongst the chapters, the whole purpose is the chapters are the gems. Does that make sense? So the people that are the gems, and we've already got them utilised. That was the issue before. We were finding gems and not doing anything with them. Like, they were just wasting away. Like, no one was engaging with them. Now, in that chapter, there might be people that are still super gems and they still need a bit of like one-on-one time. They can either use the aftercare team for that, or if they've made a relationship with one of the starters, they can still message them privately, and they probably will. I still get messages privately from some of the brothers in the Africa team, but I'm dealing with that more on their one-to-one issues. If it's something to do with the chapter, guess what? I just redirect it back to the team. That's for me. It's just easy. Redirect it back to the team. If it's something that they're saying, oh, someone's really upsetting me, so on, and there's some individual counselling I'm giving them, that's our role, isn't it, as mentors? That bit is the individual sustainability thing. Yeah.
My other question was, like, obviously here in the UK we've got like a multitude of brands. You've got like PPU, PP Light Seekers, and they travel into the same cities throughout the year. So is the objective still that, or is our objective in terms of efficiency that any brand should just set up in one city, or is it that a multitude of brands should set up chapters in the same city?
So this connects to the question that Abdul Rahman mentioned, yeah, which is two things. One is, some brands will be going to cities, and when they set up a chapter, they may ask that chapter to be their brand. Doesn't make sense. I think Lightseeker might take that model. Yeah. Okay, fine. Other brands, not other brands, remember, national and international aren't necessarily brands. They're what I call engines. Yeah. They can pull any brand when they want to, where they want to. That's actually the discretion that the international and national have. They're the engines of the three. So national, when they go to different places and set up a chapter, my inclination at this stage is let the chapter decide, at orientation, decide the name, because I think it will have more of a hub. We can take further guidance on that from our side, whether we should call it PP or whether we should call it something else. But at the moment, my inclination is that people that set up their own names, as long as one thing that Hassan made clear is that it's under the banner of what? World Peace Movement. That bit is clear. Otherwise, you can have the name is the bit that probably disinterests me the most. Yeah, like I'll be honest, it's because, and it should disinterest all of you the most, because what makes teachers and trainers unique? What is it what's unique about you? You all sit above all brands. That is supposed to be your USP. Like you're the commandos of the three. Does it make sense? You should be able to do everything and anything. If Hazrat Sahib sends you anywhere, you know, you could be the same person that's leading an Ascension gathering somewhere else, and you could be the same person that's delivering a marriage workshop somewhere else. Yeah, and you'll adapt to whatever that situation is. So if you have that mindset, then you know your mindset is going to be look really. The World Peace Movement is going to be the global brand. That is what's going to be the global brand. As long as everyone's getting that on there, and what they call themselves underneath, I'm not as concerned about. Does that mean in 7 months, 8 months? It depends on how this emerges. If we're getting so many chapters coming out, then we might turn around and say, not we, like Hazrat may pivot and say, look, actually, do you want to give everyone one name now? Or what we might do is we let everyone for 1 year do whatever they like, whatever name they want, and then as a full-on organization, we may decide to completely rebrand some of our main brands. I think that might happen. Yeah.
No, sorry, I meant more like, so say we go into a new town, say Derry, and Light Seekers go there in February, and then Prophetic Path are planning, or National Plan, to go there in 6 months. So are we establishing 2 chapters? Like, because otherwise, at the moment, maybe it's not efficient to have multiple brands going into one city. Like, that's what I'm trying to say, the strategy.
At the moment, yeah, it's a good question. It's a very, very good question. So let me answer it in 2 parts. One is let me answer what we are doing, so there's no confusion. Whoever goes to any town, Prophetic Path, you rock up to say Birmingham. Yeah? Light Seekers rock up to Birmingham. Wise Life rock up to Birmingham. 3 brands rock up to the same city. All 3 will need to go through onboarding. All 3 will set up chapters. Does that make sense? I don't want any confusion about that. Yeah. Is that our most ideal situation? Probably not. Yeah. That's tomorrow's problem. Does it make sense? We do need to think about a better way that we coordinate. We do. Some we don't need to, like Prophetic Path and Wise Life, actually don't need to think about the coordination because the markets are different. But some brands are quite closely aligned. So think about it, if PP, Prophetic Path, turn up to a place, they separate the brothers set up a chapter, they separate the sisters set up a chapter, and then another brand that deals with sisters also turns up and sets up a chapter. Okay, can we get better synergies on that? The answer is, of course, yes, but it's not today's problem. Yeah, we will need to deal with it. And am I going to be able to answer that question right now? No. But what I can answer categorically, if 5 people rock up, brands rock up to a city, 5 people open up chapters. Yeah, that's more important than anything else. Yes. Okay. G. Rock and rolling. What does that mean? Rock and roll. Did I say that? Okay. Sorry, food's ready. Okay, mashallah. I know some of the obviously.
Yeah, just one question. So, the countries that we already visited, like South America and Asia, obviously they haven't been given the onboarding support. So, how do we cater for these countries, and how do we re-engage so that the onboarding or the chapters can be re-engaged in their countries?
Yeah, it's a really good question actually. There's two types of countries, and what I mean by that is there's some countries that we've gone to where we haven't really left any contact, doesn't make sense, or relationship that much, and there's other countries that we've gone to that have probably been doing, say, Pathway 2, so we still have a connection. It depends where in the GPM that country came up. Doesn't make sense, because Pathway 2 got established more like for the last, I think, 6 months. It's been since December. Yeah, the last 6 months. Yeah, you could have just said yes. You know, okay. There's always those students in the class that feel like they have to give an answer. Yeah. But yes, for the last 6 months we've been running. So the answer to start of the Rings question is the ones that have been already doing Pathway 2. They're an easier target to get them. We can do an onboarding with them, say online. The ones like South America, it depends. I'm gonna have to ask little stars like yourself. Do we still have a relationship with people there? What do you think their appetite is if we did something like that with online? So that's a case by case basis. Yeah. But we are looking into it, because if I go through, because look, just to let everyone know, the 6-week program, what happens is after they do the 6 weeks, they go into a global gathering. A global gathering is where it's like basically a weekly majlis. This is before the Pathway 3 came about. So they're there, and it's like they get a nasiya every week. They get to do group mentoring, so they ask questions and so forth. Now with those people, we can quite comfortably say, actually, who wants to set up something in their country, and we can, and that will have people say from Malaysia. So anyone since like the last 6 months, we'll have that people in there, and we can do that with them because we've still got a relationship. With the other countries we've been to, it's going to depend. We might have to go back to that country, I think. Yeah. Any other questions that anyone has? Okay, so, lunch is being served, yeah? So, it's 1:20, so we'll give lunch break till 2:30. Yes, is that okay with everyone? And then we'll do, so that gives everyone 40 minutes. How long did it take for the sisters to collect their lunch yesterday? Let me ask the brothers that question. It's like when you ask your spouse, how long did it take you to get ready? They say 5 minutes. And then you ask the husband, how long did she actually take to get ready? It's like, in my case, look, now he's not saying, he's just giving me gestures. 5, 10, 15. Yeah, I can see your hand. Yeah, you're right. He didn't. Okay. So we'll do then Jamaat for about 2 p.m. Is that? Yeah. 2:15 did you say? Okay, we'll do 2:10. Yeah, for Jamaat at 2:10.